roll call then, and we can jump into it then. Let's see here. I'll go to our agenda to work through the list. John Clifford?
Yes, I'm here.
All right. Brian Amer?
Here.
All right. Joy?
I'm here.
Okay. Steve?
Steve should be joining us at some point, but I'll mark him absent for now.
Okay. Sounds good. And then Brian Caradale?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Donovan?
Yeah, here.
Rodney?
Here.
And Manny?
Manny, we knew wasn't going to be here tonight, so we should be good.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, we have a quorum, so we can go forward. I don't have any adjustments to the agenda. Kristen, did you have anything?
No.
You need to tweak today?
No, I have a few things under other, but no, nothing to add.
Okay. Sounds good. Then we'll go forward with reviewing the minutes from our last month's meeting. Did anybody have any comments they wanted to add or anything they noted from that need to be edited? Okay. If there's no change requests, throwing out John's name.
Oh, what's that? Me? Oh, for me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did look it over. I didn't say anything. I was not in attendance last month.
Right.
But I did print it out and I did review it just to kind of catch up on what was going on for the last month's meeting. But as far as comments regarding any data, no, I didn't see anything.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see anything either. So,
No.
Okay. Does somebody want to move to approve the minutes?
Yeah, I'll approve.
Okay. So that's Brian, and then I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay. Any opposed? No opposed. We'll proceed with approving the minutes as written. Okay. And citizen comments. Did we have any comments that came in? Kristen?
Nope.
Okay. Sorry. All right. Let's see here.
Sorry, I was
okay.
my head, but I should not rely on that. No.
No worries. Okay, so let's go ahead and is Jason with us? I'm jumping back and forth. I didn't print out the thing,
Yes,
so
Jason
on
is
my
here.
screen.
I'm
Yeah,
here.
I see the JW down below. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and jump in to present and talk us through
I
the
don't have
latest update.
a detailed visual presentation. We don't have the contractor schedule yet, but I just wanted to check in. The last time we had a meeting, I didn't attend, but Kristen let you know that we were having the bid opening a couple days later. ODOT held the bid opening and we received 4 bids, and fortunately one of those bids was under the engineer's estimate, so the project's going to be moving forward. The low bid was from Legacy Contracting Inc. out of State in Oregon, and they're completely qualified and capable and have been through all of the review, and the notice of award has been posted on ODOT's website. It does take about 30 days to get the contract executed, so things aren't moving forward as quickly as they would on a locally funded project, but we're getting used to that. So the construction schedule listed on the webpage that says April to November is going to be moved out a little bit in more like May, end of May to the end of the calendar year. And some of that has to do that we missed the bird nesting period. So they're going to have to come in and restructure the project to start out at the highway and kind of head into the condo area and then hit the trees between the park kind of in fall. So same result, they'll just have to swap their project around. So at the April or in April now, the May meeting, I'll be able to go over the contractor's detailed schedule. But my gut is telling me that we'll really see them out there digging around Memorial Day weekend. It's kind of what I'm thinking we'll see them. So any specific questions, you can direct them to me or ask them now. And if not, I will see you with some visuals and an actual detailed schedule in about 4 weeks.
Excellent. Thank you, Jason. Anybody have any questions at the moment? Okay. All right. Well, thank you,
All right,
Jason.
thanks a lot.
Excellent. We'll jump on to the Parks Master Plan update with the final review. So we'll go ahead and pass that to Erica Palmer.
Hey, good evening, Parks Board. I think Lauren is on this evening, and she's just going to walk us through kind of some of the revisions of the plan. So the plan went to Planning Commission in February, and Planning Commission reviewed the plan and had some comments and suggested some changes to be made. So we went ahead and we made those changes. Some of the changes just reflected, an updated executive summary that was more user-friendly. And then, just a couple of spots, and I'm going to let Lauren go through those. Lauren, are you ready? Perfect. Lauren, we can't hear you.
Are you seeing the correct view now?
Oh, yes.
Perfect. All right. Well, the Planning Commission meeting, they were very primed to talk about this plan with the comprehensive plan element starting to move forward. And so just a reminder, we had the cycle of review in the fall. We came back and spoke with all of you in December and made some refinements, had a city council work session at the very beginning of January. In February, you made your recommendation, which sent that on to Planning Commission. And they had some feedback, which I'll share with you, and they're going to hear it again next week. And then we should be able to move on to council. And so the February draft, it remains the same as the draft, the same structure as the draft that you all have reviewed, and the appendices do as well. Based on the Planning Commissioner review, Erica mentioned the executive summary. They had feedback where they'd like to see it be more what they call the user guide for the PRMP. And, initially we had modeled it on the executive summary of last time, which was really focused more on the actions. And the planning commissioners, I had some good feedback. They wanted to see a little more of the public engagement process summarized in the executive summary, so that if somebody looked at that, they would know that there was a robust public engagement process. If that was the only thing that they looked at, they also wanted to see a orientation to the PRMP chapters. So if they only picked up the executive summary and then wanted to, know how could I find out about my park, they would know, where to go in the document. And they suggested, and this was something I think that Kristen had thought about too. So we moved the full project list from the executive summary, which was the only place that it appeared, and put it into Chapter 5 in the main body of the plan. So no changes to the project list, but putting it into the body of the document, and then rather than having the project list, put the action plan in the executive summary, and make sure that the summarized prioritization criteria were in the executive summary. And so I think Kristen sent that out earlier today, but I just extracted a couple pages so you could see what that does. It still keeps it quite short, but it has, a bit about the numbers around engagement and a summary of the process. It has a section that you'll see on the right-facing page what each section of the plan has, to meet that planning commissioner request to really serve as the user guide. Then on, again, the right-facing page that you see up on the screen, it summarizes under recommended improvements that full project list. So you can see how that breaks down, but then the focus is the prioritization criteria and process, since we know that will be part of your work plan to update that action plan. And then rather than the 2 pages of the full project list, the action plan is in the executive summary. So that's the area, that changes the most since we talked. And it's just really about moving some content from the plan body into the executive summary. Another piece in the park design guidelines, there was some feedback around clarifying references to lighting, just to make sure it was clear about avoiding impacts and the types of lighting. So there's a minor clarification. And so then in chapter 5, this is where the full project list moves to. So in the draft that you saw, the arrow is showing where that fits in right before the prioritization criteria. So that recommended improvements table moves into chapter 5 where the arrow shows with the description that was in the executive summary. And then the project list table goes in on the following page, and then the prioritization criteria moves after that, and the action plan is retained. So that is just kind of the overview of the planning commissioner suggested revisions, and the next steps will be that upcoming planning commission meeting and then on to city council review and adoption. So I'm going to stop sharing and just check back into with Erica and Kristen. Anything else that you feel I missed? I'm trying to stop sharing. Did I do that?
It's still up.
Okay. All right.
I can't think of anything else that was brought up. Erica, can you?
I can't think of anything significant. There were just some a little bit of minor tweaks, I think, to some of the language, but nothing substantive that would change the document.
Oh. Okay, did I stop sharing yet?
Yes.
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 Good.
So did people have a chance to review the new executive summary? Any thoughts? I think it's easier to read and a little bit, I think, more useful, closer to what we had before, a little bit more of a grab and go type of information instead of having the whole project list in there. But this would be kind of the time and almost the last opportunity to provide any feedback. We already approved it. These are fairly minor tweaks, so you do not necessarily need to make another recommendation, is my understanding. Is that correct, Erica?
That's correct.
But if there was anything that any comments that were significant that we had or anything we wanted to see, now would be the time to do it before it goes to Planning Commission next week. And then actually their packet goes out tomorrow.
Did anybody have any feedback or thoughts? Thank you, Kristen, for sending that out earlier today. It kind of give us a little bit extra time to review. But if anybody had a chance to review that and had any thoughts you wanted to add, as she said, now would be the time. But I definitely appreciate the updates and the feedback that we've gotten all along the way, and I think it's been refined multiple times to where we have a hopefully very useful document we can use and pull from. Okay.
Great.
Excellent. Well, let me go back to my sheet. I think we're good from here as far as the document goes then. So thank you, both Erica and Lauren, for bringing that back to us, kind of sharing the updates, and I think we're good to go from here.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you both. Okay, so now parks maintenance update. So Harry, is he on with us?
Yes, I'm here.
Excellent.
So
Lauren Schmidt.
Is now exiting.
Lauren's gone.
So we did, if ones have not noticed, Woodhaven, the sunshades are complete and the construction fence is down. So that's been being used. Little delays with contractors, but we worked through it. So that part's done. Starting a few weeks back, we started our mowing schedules. So we're pretty much full swing into our mowing season now with our park maintenance. We've noticed a big difference in garbage. So some of our areas have been taken for garbage runs, just with more people. More people are using the parks in downtown areas, so we had to take a little bit of time away from our parks for picking up garbage. So we've noticed that in the last few weeks. So we're trying to really work on that, especially with Langer Park. We're emptying the garbage now at Langer Park as well, part of the city responsibility. Here coming up this month, we're going to be putting playground chips in all our parks. So our contractor, Rexus, will be in this month for blowing in playground chips in all our parks to get them our play surface areas up and safe. That's about it for that I can think of. We're trying our best and they're working as we can at parks.
And one question that I know came up earlier today was just about the water feature. And I know we typically do not turn that on until Memorial Day weekend at the earliest. And that's probably just going to depend on where we are with numbers and what category we're in and guidance and all of that. Is that correct, Harry?
Yes, that's to my understanding. That's depending on the numbers and how the EOC and the city depends how they want to open that up. We are still working to get those. We're getting ready. We had a contractor out today. We're having issues with our controller for Cannery Square. And we found out since it's been down for so long, we have some valves that are bad. So we wanted to fire it today. We did all our repairs, but now we're finding a little bit more gremlins from sitting for so long. So we're trying to get it up and ready. So if we do get the go ahead, we just want to hit that start button and have that thing going. So.
Great.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Do you know, Kristen, if we are at a phase in a city where it would be available to turn on, it's just a matter of timing in the city, or are we waiting for a new phase as well?
Currently, we're in moderate, and we really need to look at kind of what the square footage space is down there is the best way that we have of calculating these public spaces right now. And you're supposed to allow 35 square feet per person. So we need to take a look at that area and then post signage as to how many people can be in that area. And then the issue obviously becomes enforcement and us having to decide if there's only 30 people allowed, is that going to work and is that practical? Or by us turning it on, are we causing more of a draw than we should really have there? So I don't know. Harry, have you had a chance to look at what the square footage is and what might be allowed in that space?
No, I have not looked at the square footage because we're going to have to determine where we're going to take that measurement from. Is it going to be from this? So,
right.
Because we have to incorporate people standing, sitting. What are we going to designate for water feature, square footage, participants, right. Parents? So,
and
I think that's a new discussion needs to be had.
Yeah, and technically, some people could categorize it as a pool area. So then I think that becomes different as well.
Yes.
So, we don't have an answer yet, and we need to keep a close eye on numbers. And it's same goes for all of our summer events and activities that are out in the park, trying to figure out how or if we can do music on the green with what we think we could fit down there and meet the guidance. And then quite frankly, how would we manage that? If we can only allow, let's say, a couple hundred people down there, how are we going to control that? And then how do you control who's up on the hillside as well? So we've got a lot to figure out, but I'm talking with other cities, other parks and recreation departments. We'll be talking to other public works and maintenance departments, and all of our neighboring cities are obviously going through the same issues. Everyone's trying to figure out the guidance and how to apply it as best as we can while opening things up, but still making sure that we're keeping safety as a top priority.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. All right. If there aren't any other questions for Harry, thank you for your time and joining us. So we'll go ahead and just run on to the council updates with Russell.
Hey, everybody. And loving the sunshine. Too bad we can't have this meeting outside. Maybe someday, right? I hear we have a new city manager coming. Maybe she can take care of that for us,
Well, for all we know, Russell, you're all blurred in the background, so you could be outside just teasing us all right now.
I might be. Hold on. How's that? Oh, look. I might be on the outside. No, I'm not. Speaking of council, right now our big priority is city manager position. As you know, city manager Joe Gall, who's been here almost a decade, has been hired away by those clean water services people. So he's going to be the new czar of community relationships with cities. I don't know, something like that. But that's his new gig. We've got him for a while, and we have an interim city manager. I can't remember what her name was. It's here. So, oh, there she right there. Kristen Schweitzer is our interim assistant city manager at the moment. And when that moment comes and Joe makes his final sesame donut run, then Kristen will be the interim city manager, and she'll be sitting in the big chair and be the big kahuna and all that stuff. So the council thought about it carefully, and we think she's awesome. So we're very lucky to have her, and all of our directors and managers. But we asked Kristen specifically at this point to step up, and she said, actually, she probably said a bunch of things, but she eventually said yes. And we're so grateful that she did. And so, but that's it. So now the council is in the process of interviewing companies, recruiters. We had a list of 5. We narrowed it down to 3. Council President Rosner, Councilor Young, and myself, we have been interviewing the 3 companies that we left on the list, calling, talking, getting references, talking to the people at the city where they have recently found someone or are currently finding somebody. We're going to try and find the best company that we can to find a new city manager. So, and they will look far and wide, and there's a process. It's a very disciplined, very organized process, but it could take 3 months, maybe enough time to get your name spray painted on a parking stall out there. Schweitzer, I'm thinking that's probably going to happen sometime. So that's like the main thing we're doing right now, because there's, besides the budget, I don't know of a more important task that the city council has, but that is to, especially when there's a change, which is not that often, of a city manager. It's such an important position, so that we are taking it 100% seriously. So we're really, really trying to figure out what is the best plan. So that's on top of our mind. And the budget, that's coming up. So Kristen and Joe will be, kind of doing that. It's not like Kristen doesn't have some experience, like 19, 20 years. I don't know. It's been a long time.
I feel very old, but yes.
Well, you still look so young compared.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Yes. So, but all of our departments, all of our directors are excellent at this. So we'll have a very sound, very thoughtfully thought through budget, which the budget committee and which involves the council will begin May, right? Isn't it next month?
Yep.
I can't believe that's already next month. And then you heard, actually, I don't think Erica mentioned also the comprehensive plan is finally winding down. It's been like 2 years. And we have our last module, health and valued ecosystem. So that'll be coming up. Comes before council on the 20th. So that's 2 weeks from tomorrow night. Not much. I'm thinking about not much tomorrow night, kind of a short meeting. We have work session. We're going to meet the new YMCA director. We're going to go over those recruitment firms. And then, here's a big one. Julia Hyduke, our community development director, is going to go over an suggested updated CIP list. So capital improvement plan list of projects and whatnot, and when we're going to tackle those. Also, Metro President Lynn Peterson is going to come visit us on the 20th. So if you have anything you want me to tell her, just write it down, send it to me. And she'll be updating us on key Metro projects and issues. I'm sure she'll be warmly welcomed. And, because it's weird being out here on the edge, but we're still in Metro's grasp. So we probably are, maybe the least obedient city out here on this side of town, but that'll be great. So we had, who else came before from Metro? It wasn't Lynn, it was like the number 2, number 3 person came 3 or 4 months ago and chatted with council. They talked about garbage on the west side and a new transfer station. And yeah, so it's always good to know what they are doing because it does affect all of us because we do live inside the UGB. Anybody have any questions about goings on? Anybody? No?
I have one quickly,
Yeah.
Russell. It's more maybe an opinion, though, of just trying to gather thoughts. But I know I was talking to Eric Evans, who, it was maybe 4 or so years ago. I think he was on the board, the Parks Board. But I know he's the president of the local youth basketball club.
I know Eric well. You can't trust a thing he says.
So I was talking to him recently, and he was talking about how before, when there was the partnership between the city and the school district, it was roughly 13 grand or so for them to get all the youth together playing in the facilities. And I guess they're honoring it for maybe another year or two. And then basically he's been told that's expected to jump between $40,000 to $50,000. So about a 3 to 4-fold jump. And I've heard as well from the same chain that like baseball is looking to get charged around $150K to use fields. So I think all that, I was just turning my head, like, do you feel like that could potentially add more pressure for the city to develop out parks and develop?
Oh, yeah, let's talk about this for a while. Well, as you know, during this whole process, the council and the city and Joe and the mayor spoke to the superintendent and the school board, president of the school board. There were lunches, there were coffees, there were phone calls, there were Zoom meetings. And for whatever reason, they have decided they want to retain more control over their property. Okay, we had a great relationship for 20 years. I think the fields have looked great for 20 years. We are known in the region amongst, the athletic organizations for having great fields. And, let's just see where that goes. It's their first year. I don't know how the new pricing thing is going to work. I hope it doesn't take all of that great sports visitation income and move it down the road to whatever next municipality is more accommodating. So, but we don't own those fields. So we have 2. I'll give you a good deal on our 2 fields. 2 fields, a free snow cone, whatever you want. But yeah, but it certainly does. And we talked about this as well, that it certainly does make us think like, when Sherwood West sits down and that committee kind of gets started on the relook, one of one of their priorities might be, in addition to the uber Snyder size natural park we're going to put over on that side. I mean, I would like to put on that side. We need to think about, like fields, like maybe a new, bigger, more elaborate, I don't know, indoor facility with surrounding fields as suggested in our very own Parks Master Plan draft. Well, that's certainly, we have been reliant in a partnership arrangement with the school district for 20 years. And, they're entitled, they have every right to make a change, but that change affects 20,000 people. So, but, we will continue to reach out to them. They're not the bad guys here. I'm just saying it's changed. So we're going to continue to reach out to them and see what kinds of things we can work out for future seasons. Everything's so in flux right now. So
yeah, that's helpful. I mean, I'm trying to paint them in a bad light by any means. I'm just trying to figure out, okay, if that could potentially limit the resources available for residents, will they be seeking that out from the city now at that point too, or what should we be planning for as a board? So, but yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So
I can tell you that there's been a lot of demand for Snyder Park. We've been renting it quite a bit. What I can also share, I'm not sure exactly how the school district is calculating their fees, but at a glance, I believe they may be charging leagues on an hourly basis, whereas we had the per player per season fee of $15 for residents. And so you paid that fee, and then that covered all of your practices and games. And that's how we came up with what our fees were. So that smaller amount that you were talking about. So I'm not sure how the district is doing it, but just as a reminder, we weren't renting them on an hourly basis. Basically, you paid $15 per player to participate, and then everything was covered. Now, in some cases, if it was way above or beyond, we would rent you extra field space. If somebody was wanting to do an extra tournament or something that was outside of what a regular scope would be. But that's how we did it.
So
Great.
I just have maybe one question or thought to add on here, and maybe not so much with my parks hat on, but maybe more so as my taxpayer hat on. And, scarce land space, right? If we're in a situation where people, if, again, not painting the school district bad, but if they're quote unquote overcharging people to the point where they are seeking additional fields, and then we as a city have to expend a lot of money to go build fields, and now we end up with excess capacity, and we've all footed the bill for this, and this seems like something where not in everybody's best interest. So again, probably maybe just more of a comment, but something that has me a little concerned now hearing this piece of the conversation.
I think that's a great point. And it was a really great partnership for that reason for many years. We were really sharing resources and working together. So it is going to be going to take some time and an adjustment to figure out how this is all going to work moving forward. And yeah, where do we fill the gaps without duplicating services?
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you. Any other questions for Russell? Now that I opened Pandora's box, it's kind of like a little Easter egg, and it's like, that's not candy.
Totally fine.
Great. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Russell, for the update. And Kristen, you said you had a couple items you wanted to
I just had two things that I thought of that I should mention. If you remember, over a year ago, we applied for the Veterans Park Memorial Grant, and we were told we were going to be awarded the grant, and then COVID hit, and they put everything on hold. And we recently received notification that the project is back on. They weren't able to give us quite as much money. I believe we have just over $20,000 to go towards the project, but we did go ahead and receive that grant, which is fabulous. That means that's a project that we'll be moving forward with. And if you remember, the last version that we saw of expanding the memorial had 2 different memorials that were going to list the different branches of the military as well as the SEALs. And then we were actually going to sell or have bricks that people could have engraved. And this way we could make sure to include everybody and not be trying to find lists and rosters and going through archives to make sure that we were included everybody who should be included in every war that has been fought or is being fought. This way we will really put it back on people to say, hey, great, we'd love to have your name here. You come and you fill out this form and there's a small fee. So we're excited about that program. We're working with the Legion and the Elks and to put everything together. So stay tuned. I know there's been a lot of local fundraising that's been happening as well to go towards that project, but it's great to see that moving forward. It took 2 times for us to apply for that grant to finally receive it. So I'm glad we went back again and excited to get moving on it. So that was item number 1 that I wanted to mention. The other thing I wanted to mention is in June, we have several people whose terms will be expiring. If you remember, we reorganized how everyone's terms were falling so that I thought it was going to be every year, basically 3 people would need to be renewed. But when Kelsey looked, it looks like we actually have 5 people. Is that correct, Kelsey? So yes. I think so we're staggering.
We're still in the transition. I think that this is our last there was 2 years of big chunks. So this should be our last one of that. And then after this, it should be every 3 or 3 every year.
Because then once again, people will be appointed for different amounts of time, reappointed for different amounts of time, depending on which term seat they're in to stagger them from here on out. So we'll be sending out an email with that information so that you know if you're up for reappointment, what that next term would look like, and then see what interest there is. But it looks like it's Brian Amer, Steve, John, Eric, and Joy are all up. So please stay. No. But we'll send you more information, but that's something that we're going to want to work on in the next month so that if we do need to advertise for positions, we can get that going so that we make sure that we have a full board. So that was the last thing I wanted to bring up.
Excellent. Thank you, Kristen. Anybody else have anything they wanted to bring up tonight? Okay. Well, thank you all again. I definitely appreciate your time. I feel like we move so quickly when we're over the digital version.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, 40 minutes. But yeah, you have plenty of free time now for the rest of the evening, but we definitely appreciate the time everybody's put in. So yeah, just keep the first Monday, that's the 3rd for May, available for our next meeting, and we'll call tonight's meeting adjourned. Thank you all again.
Thank you, everyone.
All right, thank you.
Bye.
All right, see ya. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.